Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Donkey. 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 Oh guys, I'll tell you what. Slab. Slab. What's up guys? Today we're talking about finding spots using the Livescope. I know it's something that we haven't covered in depth before, so today we're going to talk about it, finding and marking new spots on your lake. So y'all stick around. Whee! All right guys, before we get into the meat and potatoes of it, I just came across a new pile that I haven't hit before. I actually want to go across the lake, and I'm going to go to an area that I have like no marks in at all. I just know that it's an area that I want to start breaking down, one that we can hit up, but I want to pick up the fish off of this pile first, man. Another donkey, another absolute donkey, man. These fish are starting to get thick for winter. Man, another beautiful fish. Another beautiful fish. All right, guys, sorry. Had to get those two knocked out, guys. Had to get that pile knocked out. All right, so we got a little bit of wind today, too. So we got about an 8-mile-an-hour wind. So today will also be a little bit of boat control mixed in with a little bit of a spot discovery. So what I want to do today is I want to show you how we use, specifically, we use the Livescope to find new spots, new sunken brush piles, stuff like that, because I know a lot of the videos I have are using the Humminbird and something, right? So today I just want to use the Livescope only. Now, one caveat is I always start where I think the fish are going to be. So on this time of year, I'm looking for a big flat or a big finger, or something with some good drop off to it. That's just, right now they're gorging, they're eating, they're getting ready for their winter homes. So on my map here, you can see this big green area? That big green area is basically a big old flat. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull up here. I have one waypoint, as you just saw already, but what I wanna do is find more spots. Now, historically speaking, when you have an area that holds fish already and there's structure already, there's typically gonna be a little bit more structure in the area. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to this first waypoint that I have, and from that waypoint, I'm gonna move out and I'm gonna scan. I'm gonna show y'all how I'm scanning, what I'm looking for, and how the whole process looks. Now, I'll be completely honest with you, this process is one that I do not take people fishing with me during. It can be arduous, it can be time consuming, and you're not gonna usually catch a lot of fish because you're marking new brush piles. Also, this time of year, it's stick and move. So you're catching one or two, moving, catching one or two, moving, catching one or two, moving. So this is what I would call discovery. It's when I'm marking new spots, new areas to fish. You can do this for any body of water and it'll help, but start with your favorite topography characteristic. Mine's big flats or big long fingers, and stick to that area and kind of look left and right. So let me show you what that looks like now. Let me throw the trolling motor and the scope in the water and let's talk about it. Okay, so I'm at the front of the boat now. So I want to go over some settings real quick that I have on my specific setup on my Livescope. So I am running a GPS map 10, so it's 10-inch head unit, and I have an LVS 34 transducer. So that's the two things that I have. Now, as far as the gain and all that stuff, 75%, but that depends on the body of water you're in. I have it set to auto depth. And then on these, you use this roll wheel to go to the forward, to zoom in and zoom out with the forward range there. Now, when I am scanning for new spots, I keep mine at about 60 to 70 feet out. And the reason I do that is it gives me a good broad range to look left and right in and look for and find new brush piles. So first thing I want to do is get my trolling motor heading in the direction that I want to travel. So we're going to turn it on. I usually cruise at about a 6 to 8 speed, and the reason I do that is because I want to cover a good amount of ground, but I don't have to be like zooming through. Now in this wind, I'll probably bump it to like a 7, just because again it's like a 7 to 8 mile an hour wind, and I want to stay into the wind, guys. I want to always be into the wind. It just makes life so much easier than having the boat try to fight going left and right. And if we find one as we pass it to the left or right, I'll show you how to compensate. So first things first, we put you on the chest. I'm going to show you, this is what I do. So I always usually keep a pole in my hand because, hey, when you find fish, you're going to want to fish for them. So all I'm doing, guys, and I'll show you now, my active captain is not working. Ever since that last update I did, the active captain decided it was going to not work. So I'm sorry that it's not on here, but here's what I'm going to do, guys. I'm just going to go left and right, and that's all I'm doing, guys. I'm going to use this remote, and and I'm gonna go left and right. Now there's a lot going on during this, guys. There's a whole lot of movement, there's a whole lot of hand motions. But what I want to look for is I want to look for really hot signatures on the screen that are close to the bottom. And again, we're at 70 feet, so they're going to be pretty small. They're going to be small looking features, but that's okay. So we're just going to scan looking left and right. All the while I do this, every now and then what I'll do is I will come back to my screen and I'll make sure that we're running that same area that I want to run. I want to get up past this mark that I was telling you about. I want to get up past that mark, and I want to get up into this finger out here. So that means we need to kind of go that way, kind of left, which keep that in mind as you travel. So here we go, guys. We're just scanning left and right, and again I'm just going left, right, and that receiver right there, it transmits into the scope just that fast. So there we go, there's a little structure right there. Look at that, guys. So we're gonna spot lock right here. Now once I find a structure, what I want to do, I want to watch that structure. Does that structure deform? Does that structure take off? Or does it stay still? If it deforms, it's a bait ball. If it takes off, it was a school of whites or a school of fish. Is it stuck to the ground? This one is stuck to the ground. That's good news. We also have what looks like a floater. 2 floaters right there adjacent. So this pile is not moving. It is small, but it is a pile. So we're going to sit right here for just a second. Let the boat get its heading. Okay, now this one's 40 feet to our right, and I told you always want to be in line with it when you're fishing a new pile. It just makes life so much easier. Let's check it again. Looks like it may be a pile. Now again, we're at 70 feet, so it's pretty small, but it's 40 feet over. So now what I want to do is I want to use my remote, and I want to use the jog features, guys. So the jog feature is when you move your boat left and right incrementally. Mine's set to 5-foot increments. So we want to go 40 feet to the right, and it's according to where my pole is, it's kind of in front of us. So first thing I'm gonna do, 1 2 3 4 5 6 clicks, gives us 30 feet of drift to the right. And as I'm doing that, I'm taking my scope and I'm keeping it on that structure. Again, looking to see if it deforms, looking to see if it moves out, looking to see if it stays still. Now today we're fighting a good amount of wind, so just be patient. This takes a lot of practice. It's something that you got to get good at. Now that pile's within 25 feet of where we first found it. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to zoom on out. So that pile hasn't moved yet. So it is in line with us, because my transducer faces straight out. So it is in line with us, and it's 30 feet out. So there we go. Now what I want to do, that I'm in line left and right with it, I want to go forward to it, and it's about 25 feet out. Now you think to yourself, oh, let's go 20 feet out. I like to keep the pile 20 feet away. So I'm going to click 2 clicks for one reason. 2 clicks is 10 foot of gain, which would put that pile at 15 feet. Now we're fighting the wind. Given that the trolling motor has a 6-foot radius that it can float in, I do 2 clicks, and it usually keeps that pile right around the 15 to 20 foot mark. And look right there. So that pile's right there in that 15 to 20 foot mark, just like I said. Again, this just comes with knowing your trolling motor. So then what I want to do is take this wheel and I want to roll it on out. I want to go to 30 foot of view. I find that 30 foot of view in deeper water, aka 12 foot and deeper, is for me the prime setting to see what we're working with. And again, we can see it is in fact a little brush pile. So what I'm going to do next, I'm going to grab my fishing pole, I'm going to take my jig, I'm using 1/8 ounce hand tied jigs, and I'm going to toss it out there. Fighting the current, the pile's at 14 foot, so I want to cast to about 20 foot. So right there, you can see my jig has hit the water. Right, I just saw it right there at 28 feet, and that's okay, that's good. So what I want to do is just keep everything in line here. I want to keep my pole in line, my line in line. That's a double negative there. And I just want to drift that jig over that pile, keeping everything in line here. This is the part that takes a lot of practice. Now I'm using an 1/8 ounce jig, so it's going to sink a little bit slower. Now the reason I cast farther is because I want the current to drag that jig, and it's doing fantastic at it. So we're going over the pile now. Now that we're over the pile, we're going to look for any followers. We're going to look for any fish that squirt out. We're going to look for any fish that follow us. We're going to look at any activity that may or may not be on the pile. Now if you'll see my jig, I have to turn the Livescope to see it. See, I have to turn the pole. See, I see the pile there, and then I turn the pole and I can see my jig. That means that my jig was not on the correct path. So what I'm going to do, because it's windy, I'm going to push forward 5 more feet. 1 click. I'm going to incrementally close that distance a little bit more. So now that pile is at 12 feet in front of me. I have a good amount of wind, And the reason we want to keep that distance is boat slap, guys. You can hear the boat, you can hear the waves hitting the side of the boat. And we want to do everything we can because fish are way smarter than we give them credit for. So now we are about 12 feet from the pile. I cast to about 14 feet and I'm falling on the pile. Now that jig, I want to keep the clarity of the jig the same clarity as the pile. And this is what I mean when I was saying figuring out the wind, because you need to know those two key elements. So I'm going over the pile now and I'm just going to pop it. And I saw some fish move out, which is good. That's good news. Now my pile kind of drifted. It's a little more to the right. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to stop looking at the screen because I know exactly what I'm looking for now. 8 feet in front of me, in line with this pole, is this pile. So we're going to go 8 feet out, drop it down there. This, if there's fish on there, this should be a fish catch. So see the clarity of the jig, see the clarity of the brush pile? See how they're the same? So if there's biting fish down here, this will be the striking cast. So here we go. We're going to fall down on the pile. We're going to go over it, just like we are. See if there's anything that follows us out. We got 1 or 2, and guys, this is a really small pile. So for a pile like this, we can expect 1 or 2 fish tops, if there's any active fish on it. This isn't evening fish. It's almost nighttime here. This is not a morning time fishery. So they're gonna fish a little bit different. So that cast did not result in any fish. I'm gonna give it 1 more cast and then I'm gonna move out, because again, guys, we're marking brush piles today. We're not really worried about fishing, but I'm out here. I spent the gas money to get out here. I may as well wet a line a couple of times. You can't just let it go, completely unheard, So here we go, going over the pile again, letting it drift, looking for anything to follow me, and I have a little guy following me. Now, I say a little guy because the fish is about the same size as the jig. See that fish showing with me? That is indicative of a smaller caliber fish, not one that we're really interested in catching. So we're going to be done with this pile, and I showed you how we found it. So now what I'm going to do, this is the most important part, guys. There's 2 ways you can do this. You can either mark it in your Garmin head unit, or you can mark the brush pile on your Humminbird head unit, which is what I'm going to go do now. So what I will do is I'll put the pole down, I'll come back here, see that pile right there? That's the one I just found. So I'm going to click mark. I'm going to create a waypoint. Oh, not a spot lock. Okay, that's fine. So I created a spot lock. If I wanted to create a waypoint, all I could do, well, let's erase that one. I'll show you. So all I want to do is hold that, and I want to delete that point. So then what I want to do is mark waypoint. I'm going to mark it as brush, and I haven't fished it, so I'm going to mark it as purple. That's my color combination. And what I mean by that is when I mark stuff on my head unit, yellow means we tore them up. Purple means I have found it. I cast it a couple times. I haven't really caught anything on it yet, so we need to go back to it and fish it. And then red means its structure, it's seasonal, it's probably not going to have anything. So that's how you find and mark and fish a pile. Let's find a couple more, guys. Let's do this a couple more times so we can really hammer into points. Okay. All right, so now we're back at the front. Now remember, all of our settings are all discombobulated now. So what we want to do is roll our view. We want to go our 4 range out to about 70 feet. Look how small that pile got as we rolled out. I want to take my my boat off of spot lock, and all I want to do is engage the motor by clicking the button 1 time, and I want to move that trolling motor speed up to about a 7. And here we go, guys. And again, left and right, left and right, left and right. And remember, we want to go kind of left down this depth line, this topography line, topo line as we called it in the military, and we want to follow it. We just want to scan left and right, left and right, left and right. This time of year, guys, these fish are going to be gorging. They're going to be putting on their winter weight. They're going to be trying to get real full, because during the winter they're going to go really deep. They're just going to hang out. They're going to sit at the bottom of the lake. So here we go. Let's go. We're going to keep looking for a pile, and see, like we already hit that. That's the one that we just hit, guys. I came off a spot lock and I drifted back a little bit. So that's another thing. Don't get confused with the pile that you've already hit. So let's just keep scanning left and right, left and right. And that pile looks really good. That pile looks really good. Again, when we zoom out, look how small it is. So all right, let's keep going down the same topography line right here. Same area. That 17 to 20 foot depth, that's our prime depth right now, and we're in the middle of August, or the middle of October right now. So we're just gonna look left and right, left and right. And guys, the reason I don't typically bring anyone with me when I do this is for the simple fact that it's just not fun. Hey, speak of the devil, look at that. That's what I'm saying. Usually there's 1 or 2 or 5 or 10 more structures. So we're actually heading right for it. So keep your transducer on it. Keep it pointed straight at it. And then once you get to about 30 feet or so, keep it straight on. Turn off your trolling motor like that, and then hit the spot lock button, because we want to incrementally work up to it, guys. Remember, we don't want to scare the fish off. Like I said, we're marking spots, but we're here, so let's not turn a blind eye. Now, we don't need this 45 to 65 foot line anymore, line of sight. So we're gonna roll it down to about 50 foot. That way that pile gets a little bit bigger for us. And there it is right there. So then now what we're going to do, now that the boat has got its heading. Now guys, that's a real good point that I want y'all to take away from this. The boat will always get its heading into the wind. Always, always, always into the wind. So if you look at my videos, any video in the past, and I'll show you now, you can see the waves, they're coming straight at the boat. Well, except those, a boat just drove by. But the waves, if you look, they're going straight at the boat. You can see them coming straight at me, and the boat will always, always, always do that. It'll always put itself into the wind. The only time it really has trouble doing this is when there's no wind. No wind is probably the worst thing you can do for these trolling motors, and it will sit there and it will try to find its heading. It'll sit there and try to find resistance on the motor, and then when it finally gets that resistance, bing, it keeps you into that resistance, and it keeps you in line with the wind. So, all right, anyway, science stuff is over with. Let's talk about that big old juicy junker right there. So 35 feet, again, we want to incrementally go up to it. So we're gonna take our remote, we're gonna give it 1, 2, 3 clicks. That's 15 feet. That's splitting the difference between 30 feet. And remember, we have a 6-foot radius, so this is all estimated math. This is not an exact number. Learn your equipment, figure out what works best for your equipment, and do that. And as we get closer, we can see this is actually a pretty okay sized pile. It's a medium sized pile, and it looks like it has fish on it. So now we'll grab our pole again. We'll take our jig, and it's at about 20 feet. And because of the drift, we want to give it one more click. We want to get it a little bit closer than normal. In a flat, calm condition, we'd go keep it at 20 feet. So I gave it one more click on the remote. That's going to put that pile around 16 foot, which will give us about a 10-foot radius. Okay, here we go, radius to fish in. Okay, here we go. Real quick, that's what white bass look like. See those white bass in the top left corner? All right, so that's our pile right there, guys. So let's throw down to it. It's 18 foot out, so I want to cast to about the 22 to 24 foot mark, which is what you can see there. You can see me falling down on the pile. And I'm just going to pendulum through the pile. And guys, this is when the pendulum really comes in handy right here, is whenever you're looking for these piles. So I can see there's some fish on it. So I'm going to come up over the edge right here. I'm going to drop it right in this fish's face. I'm going to come up over this edge, and there are fish following me. Ooh, did you see that rod tip? Y'all probably didn't see the rod tip because I have it pointed down at the Livescope. But we did have a nice strike right there. Now, if you'll look, my transducer, if you look down the pole here, my transducer is kind of in the way of the trolling motor and all that. I'm not really a fan of that. So what I will do is I'll take my remote and I'll click it one to the left. And what that's going to do is it's going to take that pile and it's going to put it more in line with the transducer. When I fish, I like the pile to be in line with my transducer and to the right of the boat. And the reason is, look at all the stuff I have up front, guys. I want to fish in that gap right there every time, especially when I have someone with me. So that's what we did. See how my transducer is pointing out now? And then look right there at the pile. Bada bing, bada boom. Thing of beauty right there, huh? All right, so let's drop it back in there. Let's go down in there. Drop it down, drop it down, drop it down. Here we go, guys, here we go. So I'm going right on top of the pile. I'm just gonna stop it right over the pile. Just like that, give it a pop. And guys, look at that. So this is not only an active pile, it's a biting pile. Nice dinner plate right there. Nice dinner plate right there. Go ahead. So we'll put him back. All right. Add him to the day's total. And then let's just go down there again. So 12 feet out. Again, right now I'm kind of dead sticking it, so I'm casting right onto the pile. And you can see that jig's the same clarity as the actual pile. So I'm going to stop it right over the pile right there. I'm just going to let it hang in there, and that wind is going to push me out a little bit faster than I wanted. Now, this is the drift I'm talking about. See how that pile's made its way back to the left side of the boat there? So I'm going to give her another click. Boop. It's a constant song and dance. The more wind you have, the more more frequent, you're gonna have to hit these buttons, okay? And if you really want to get some clarity and you really want to see what you're working with here, zoom that pile all the way out to about right there, you know, 20 feet, 20 or 30 feet. Like I said, that's my bread and butter. And you can start to pick fish out. That's a fish, that's a fish, that's a fish, that's a fish, that's a fish in the mud rolling out. And so as you start to use your electronics, you'll know what these fish look like. You'll know what bigger fish look like, and you'll be able to pick out specific fish. So for right now, I'm just drifting it over the pile. I'm just going over it. I'm not really spending much time sniping individual fish. I just want to catch a couple and then keep moving. There we go, guys. Ooh, pulled it right out of his mouth. Right out of his mouth. All right, one more. Here we go. Let it get, oh geez, let it get down there. Let it fall in line, guys. Y'all see that? Got to stand off funny looking here. Now I'm gonna go about midway down the pile. I'm just gonna kind of pop it through there, and I'm gonna let these fish see it. Oh, see how I hit that one and he took off, guys? That's what happens when you hit a fish. We don't want to hit fish, we want to catch fish. When you hit them, they take off. 10 out of 10, they're not gonna bite you. But see all those fish following me out, guys? There we go. Matter of fact, let me show you one. See how they follow me out? And it is usually the little fish that follow you that much. The bigger fish are usually going to be standoffish, and you're going to have to go to them. And if you want to see a video of me sniping fish, I'll put it in the description box below, and we get on some dandies in that video. But all right, one more. Just proof of concept here, because I can see a good looking fish. Now, before we do that, I want to close this distance a little more. So what I'm going to do, it's at what 16 feet. So I'm going to go up 2 clicks. If you watch my videos long enough, you'll hear us say, never hurts, got a dead stick. You got a dead stick. We say that all the time. What that means is we pull up right over the pile and we drop down into the pile. Dead sticking is when you just drop the bait in there and just let it hang. You're just dead sticking, no motion, no nothing. You're just letting that thing sit there, and every now and again you'll pop that rod tip like that. Boop, boop. All right, so what we're gonna do before we roll off of this pile is we're gonna drop down there and we're gonna dead stick it one time, so you can see that just my pole length has us out there right above the pile. And guys, we're just gonna go down in there like that, and we're gonna stop it. We're just gonna give that rod tip a little bit of a bounce. Nothing crazy, nothing aggressive. Just gonna move that jig around and kind of pick it up, go down lower, go shallower if you need to. Kind of pop it just a little bit. And sometimes if you get a high pressured fish, this is what it takes. You just let it sit there in their face. And I don't know if it's frustration, I don't know if it's anxiety, I don't know if it's just the need to kill something in its own house. A lot of times dead sticking results in some pretty nice fish. So let's open our bail and go a little bit deeper into the pile. That's another thing, is when you're dead sticking, you can go into the pile better. You can pick those little cuts, those little branches that are like this, you can kind of swing them into there and get that joker right where you want it. So we may have actually turned this pile off by being so close to it. Let me drop it down there one more time. It looks like it's loaded with little guys. I won't lie to you. Look at it. So it's tons of fish all over it, guys. Tons of fish all over it. So let me drop it down in there like that. See if we get any takers here. And again, we're just dead sticking, just hanging our bait in their face. There we go. See? Little flick of the rod tip and results in a slabby patty. There we go. All right. So that's 3 off of this pile. Let's find one more pile, just to make sure y'all know exactly what we're talking about. First things first though, we're gonna come back here, and again, we're gonna grab our screen, we're gonna hit mark, waypoint, purple, because we only caught a couple. That's it. So now we're coming back up to the front, take it off a spot lock, roll our wheel out, 70 foot is our view, take us off a spot lock, let the trolling motor get its heading, put us at about a 7. Oop, I turned on cruise control. Put us at about a 7. And take off. So we're at a 7, we're cruising. We're looking at the same depth range, guys. This is what I'm telling you. You just gotta check. Whenever you're out here, there's usually a couple more structures around you. Now, I will tell you, if you get to a big flat and there's no structure at all, I mean, you can't find anything at all, hop on the console, turn your big motor on, and I want you to put it on side imaging, and 9 times out of 10, when you find that one structure in a big flat with nothing on it, that one structure is usually holding the biggest fish. Bigger fish do not like to congregate on each other this time of year. So you're gonna find onesies and twosies on singular structure out on a big flat 9 times out of 10, guys. All right, here we go. Let's get our scan on. And we haven't checked our map location in a minute, so let me go back here real quick. Make sure we're, so see how we're off just a little bit? So we want to go left just a little bit, not too bad. So we want to go left a little bit, which makes sense, because remember we said we want to go this way off this point. And we're just going to keep scanning left and right, left and right, left and right. You know, you really want to rhythm, you really want to make my day. Give me a brush pile at the back side of a drop off. So if we had a drop off like this, there's a brush pile sitting right here. Woo! Tell you what, that's where you want to catch all your fish at. So all right, scan left and right. And guys, don't be afraid. You can go deeper. You can go farther out than 70. You can go 80, 90, 100, 110. My dad runs at like 115. The reason I don't is because you've got to really be paying attention when it's that far out, because the structures will be really small. I like to keep them at a good size and distance. Now look at that. That's a big old fat crappie just floating. That's a big old singular crappie just floating. How can I tell? He's sitting perfectly still, hanging out in the middle of the water. Now if you get going for a while and you're like, man, it's just slick bottom out here, like right now we've been going for, I don't know, it feels like an eternity, but it's been like 2 minutes. What you can do is, don't be afraid to kick up the speed on the old trolling motor here. It does not hurt it to go faster. You just gotta be keeping the head on a swivel, looking better, looking faster. I know someone's gonna ask, well, how long do you do this for? I typically have a point on the map that I go to, and then that's it. Now, I try to do this once every 2 or 3 visits to any lake. So the first visit, obviously we do this the most. This is what we do to find new piles at a new lake. But if it's a lake, like this is one of our home lakes, I try to do this every 2 or 3 visits. Give me an hour or 2, and I mark. The goal is 2 spots. I'll be honest with you, the goal is 2 to 3 brand new spots. And before long, you'll have 100 brush piles marked, and 100 standing trees marked, and 100 everything marked. So just give yourself small goals. Don't try to take on too much at one time, okay? Do this progressively. Like just now I added 2 brand new spots, and I've never had them, and now I got 2 brand new spots on this flat. So if you pull up to one of your favorite spots and it's got people all in it, well, guess what? No worries. I got 2 other spots I can go check now. Guys, I hope that this video helps you. That's how you use only Livescope, and that's how you mark brand new spots on your body of water, guys. Drop in the comment section if you have any questions. I will answer them through video or in the comment section for you. I love making these videos for y'all and to help y'all. I really hope this one helped y'all. It's something that y'all have been asking for, so please don't hesitate to put it in the comment section. I do my best to make videos based on y'all's needs so I can continue to educate y'all. That's why I created this channel. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, I think you'll like this playlist of how-to videos that I've curated for you specifically to be successful on your bodies of water. Guys, I appreciate it. Make sure you smash the subscribe button. It means the world to us. Do me a favor, if you think one of your friends will benefit from this video, share it just to 1 friend. You would make my world if you shared it to 1 person, guys. Guys, we'll catch you on the next one. Don't stop the dangle. Peace!